Doing these on the fly.
I know we're very much on the fly people here. We'll wait another minute here to get started. We'll do birthday shout outs next time. All right. I'm going to start on the agenda here. We'll start with news. Then we have a big update on cheating, update on greenhouse, update on BBs, and then talk about the grants program. So, on the news front, the OTA for the BBs is out. Everybody should have gotten that had an affected power supply misconfiguration the software. That's out. A couple of folks have let us know that they think that had another effect on something else, but we don't believe that's the case. So we're digging into that. Next up, cheating. Big announcement here. So we're looking into strange behaviors from some of the logs that we're getting, and we're looking into two sets. Based on also a lot of community feedback in this. So they're mostly located in La Jolla and Baltimore. And so we're putting in a process that we've been kind of talking about this to maximize the fairness for everybody involved. So our decision there was to put the suspected cheating devices into probation state, where they will continue to earn, but it won't be sent from the incentive back through. Which means that over time, during the investigation, they can still earn PICs and PCN, but it will be in this escrow, and the escrow will be effectively unsent, but computed correctly into the pool of daily PICs. And the idea is that throughout the investigation, if we find that the devices were operating not in a way that it can be replicated, they'll be deemed as cheating, and then that PCN will then be sent out to the rest of the community and the pro rata of the PICs that they had per day. And if it was a mistake on our side, we will just release the PCN into the wallets of the owners of the suspected devices. So that can be very complicated. So I expect about your questions on this. Right now, we're having the investigation being done by the operating company, and we'll be in contact with the owners or operators of the devices. And that will be kind of looking at their physical devices, reviewing them, going on site, and seeing how to replicate what they're seeing. At the end of this investigation, OPCO will make a decision as to whether or not there was cheating, and then what the consequences is. Either forfeit or forfeit plus ban of the actual devices. And then, of course, we'll make the report public and try to go through this process as transparently as possible. So, again, at the end of the review, either the PCN will be returned or will be sent to all the others that earned it on those specific days in which the escrow was kind of withheld back, basically simulating what would have happened if there was no cheating. This will happen for both flowers and bumblebees that we see suspicious data. And then we're actually going to send on the Discord channel now the list of affected devices that we think. So if you're going to give me a second here, I'll pull that up and make sure we can share. Sure, you guys are going to have questions. So while we're waiting,
It sounds like the first part may have been truncated audio. So
let's
what was the first part that the folks picked up on?
I think the people were asking about what is the probationary period, right? What state are you in when you're in escrow, basically? And I'm not sure we have a name for that yet, but basically the idea there is you are in probation. In probation.
Where do we want to post it? In the anti-gaming, or do we want to post to the
I think anti-gaming probably.
anti-game center?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll post it now. No, that was that one. Right. It's stupid. Okay. All right. All right. So they've been posted there. Okay. Was the audio clear in terms of like what we're doing on that? Is there another? Are you on the channel?
Yeah, I'm on the chat. They're just making jokes now.
Okay. Amazing. Love that. Okay, so that's the list there. We don't have a great way of contacting every owner. I mean, we know who a bunch of these are, but if you're in this list and you would like to get off the list, please contact us to make sure that we can have a good chat about it. If you're in the list and you don't contact us, we will just assume that you then, we'll go with our findings and you'll see the report on what we write there. By having a chat directly, I think you can kind of help us understand why certain things would be wrong.
No flowers on the list is a question.
Yeah, we will do the flowers too. This was just the bees. The bees is the cleanest way because it's actually the bees that are reporting the flowers, but we'll put the flowers up on the second. Do you mind sending me the list? Oh, cool, thanks. Okay, that's an amazing bumblebee, by the way. That should be banned. We're also going to scrub the naming because our adjective list was too
loose.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet, but that will be from future NFTs. We won't see weird names, hopefully.
We want to be
Sensitive.
inclusive, but we want to be edgy, but not insensitive. Yeah, that's the right way to say it.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. Okay, so also going forward, we want to have a way to report cheating. This has kind of been done informally from people just messaging us. We want to have a way for people to say, hey, I think this person is cheating. Here's the date and the name of the bumblebee or flower. And we'll go through the same process. And then there we will give a 10% of the escrow amount to the people or peoples that identified the suspected offender in case that happens there.
And when the API comes out, there's going to be a lot of good data in there. Some of the community are already working on some pretty exciting sounding tools. One of them just got released, but some anti-gaming tools too that'll make it easier for folks to do some bounty hunting.
That'd be great.
So actually, that's a great topic. Just as an aside, the API is in beta. People have been using it already. We've seen a lot of really positive feedback. We've also seen some pretty awesome tooling that people are making already, that are using the API, but also expanding on the function of the Explorer, expanding on the function of the Ledger, and we're really thankful to the community for participating, and you will get a more fully fledged release in the future. But seeing what's out there right now, it's just super exciting to see how much use and how much utility people are getting from the API data. So yeah, that's been awesome.
Are we ready to expand it to more people?
Yeah, expand it to more people. Right now we have like a very small list of API beta testers. Once it leaves the beta, then we'll make it legit, and anyone can get access as long as.
But do you want to do a beta 2 to expand to more people that are interested? Or do you want to do straight to open?
I think we can go straight to open, but
Awesome.
we can talk through that. Yeah, I think we can go straight to.
All right, we found the flowers that we suspect are cheating. We've been anti-gaming. There we go. All right. All right. Next up is greenhouse. We're on track for shipping this week. It's being tested now. Pretty excited about that. Do you want to add any talk about features or new stuff that might be coming with that?
Oh yeah. Well, as you guys know, we're moving away from the AGW being a physical device, and we suspect that that'll lead to a lot easier setup and a lot easier support for you guys. We're also working on functionality to make things real time. I know that's been a huge ask for a lot of people in the community. Is can we see our validation efforts reported in real time? We feel that migrating to the greenhouse will allow us to build out those real-time functions. It's not something you're going to see right away, but it's something that enables us to provide those kinds of real-time feedback. And we're currently working through developing the architecture to do that. So we think that's going to be a very useful and very informational piece to the greenhouse, along with it being easier to set up, with it being a more robust, more scalable technology. So we're really excited to release it and to get some people on it and see how it goes.
Awesome. There was a question here. I think we skipped when will you be sending out the greenhouse honeybees? So the honeybees from the greenhouse drop. We haven't done it yet.
We haven't done that yet. We're gonna do the shipping of the greenhouse flowers and the honeybees at the same time.
Okay. All right. So my shortly can be longer than expected on what's the exact one.
The honeybees are more ready than the
Yeah,
flowers.
we should have done the honeybees separately, but that was a mistake. Okay. Okay. Next point, BBs. We finally have stock. That's great. So excited. We will be doing the private BB drop next week. We're definitely shipping same week, hoping to beat that. And we'll give access to everyone who purchased a flower in a previous drop but couldn't get access to BB, and giving them 25% discounts for those. I think it's limited to one per flower of how many they had. Yep. Christian, you want to add anything to that?
No, it'll be we're gonna do it. Make sure everybody who got a flower without the BB has a chance to get one before we go public. So just making good on that.
Awesome.
And yes, there's the discount. I'm asking the question.
Yep. Next up is the grants program. Why don't you give an update on that?
So appreciate everybody who.
Sorry. Public drop BB when? I think we said we're going to do 2 weeks before from the first drops, because people waited like 72 days or something ridiculously long on that. So we want to give them at least a couple of weeks of being out alone before we do a public drop.
And yeah, and we're definitely gonna try to cover all of the private drops before we get to the public drop. I think that was a concern among some people, but we're definitely doing the private drop first before we do the public drop.
Yeah, and then the question I think was how much in between the two, and I think we want to do
2 weeks.
2 weeks is a good number there. Yeah. Can you attach an external antenna so you don't have to hold it above your head?
I think that's okay.
Well, if you need message us separately. I mean, we can give you the right connector name. You do, we include antennas on the circuit board that we put on, and there's a cable that connects the modem to that. So if you're at your own risk, want to, use your UFL or IPEX cable to an external antenna, I think that's, knock yourself out. Just be wary that you may, cause some damage there. But if you know what you're doing, that's fine.
So there was another question. Any update on remote status and/or tools for troubleshooting flowers during install and remote monitoring? The question is, are we making those tools? The answer is yes. We're calling it the botanist It's still in progress, but the idea there is a web app that will be a one-stop shop for users to set up their devices and see the status of their device. We're still working the pipeline necessary to get to that point, but we have teased it in the past, and we are still working on that.
True. You want to talk about botnets a little bit, because I think that has the yeah, the botnets. Where's the
Make sure you pronounce it right.
Botanist. Yeah, I mean, no real substantial update beyond what I just said. I think the biggest thing is we're building up the requisite backend infrastructure in order to make the botanist happen. Again, it's a real-time alert system based on data that is coming from Internet of Things. So it's a complex architecture. We're working it. We're pretty close to, I think, making something happen in terms of having a like a beta support page. We're going to test that internally, make sure it works, make sure it's giving all the status update information that we need. And then when it's in a place that it's ready, it's going to become an external tool for all of you to try and use. So that's really the state that we're in right now is internal development for the backend infrastructure. And then we're going to move to testing. And then once it's being tested and kind of ready to go, we'll let you guys know, and then we'll start beta testing with you guys.
Perfect. And then the first version that's coming with the kind of live update that we were talking about this morning on the. You want to expand on that too?
Yeah. So I mentioned that a little bit as well as we're moving to Greenhouse in order to enable a bunch of other real-time monitoring activities that we want to enable for the user. That includes real-time validation information. That includes real-time alerts as to whether your flowers are up and running or functional. So all of these are being considered as real-time checks that the user may want to do in order to see that their devices are working and to get feedback from their devices as they validate. So we believe that migrating to Greenhouse will enable us to do these real-time checks. There may be a phase where we have to migrate some of the older non-greenhouse flowers to Greenhouse in order to make sure that everything can be monitored real time. We still haven't finalized that approach yet, but that'll be obviously announced before we do that. But the idea here is that Greenhouse allows us to do the real-time monitoring. It allows us to build out the necessary tooling to show you guys where you're validating and who you're validating with as we do it. And we think that's going to be a huge improvement to the user experience, both for the Bumblebee and for the Honeybee app, and for the botanist, which is coming. So all of these are being enabled by the Greenhouse, and that's why we think it's such a crucial and important move to make away from the AGWs and towards Greenhouse.
Awesome. Follow-up question on antennas. In helium, there was a race to high gain antennas, and will we be penalizing that? So the goal here, guys, is to build a network that's usable by cell phones. So that's why there's hex limits to the flowers. You could clearly cover more hexes than you can if you had a directional antenna and did all kinds of things here. So the goal is to minimize the gaming. We, part of the reasons why these two clusters were reported is because they're giving coverage in a way that we don't think is possible or suspicious. If you are gaining more range from your BB specifically for the purpose of extending and validating hexes that you would not be able to see from a phone, when we do get phone full validation working, then those will be lost. Go ahead.
I would also say part of the Bumblebee validation is checking for a network ping, right? So like we're checking we're trying to ping the network.
Yeah, but if you put a parabolic antenna and you find a way to
you find a way to
and you like point at the thing and you have a person riding in the back of the pickup truck aiming it at the flower, you're going to be able to get more range than you would out of a phone, and that's where the density of the BB logs will come in and be like, if you're the only one who can see it from here, there's something going on, and you're going to be, flagged and potentially, frowned upon. Now,
And also, like, what I mean to say is that bumblebees are already checking for usable network. If you mess with it and show that like some of the network is usable, but it's doing something weird, we're going to check it on the anti-gaming side, and we're going to try to isolate those behaviors on our anti-gaming checks to make sure that you are not doing something weird with the bumblebees. And I think that's what Anthony was saying in terms of checking for gaming. We currently have a process to check individual bumblebees' behaviors and see what they're doing and if what they're doing is unnatural behavior, right? So the definition of unnatural is kind of vague, but we have clear evidence in terms of plots and pictures that show that kind of behavior. And I think in the future we will keep making those plots and making those reports public so that people can see what unnatural behavior is, and then they'll have a chance to report it through the bounty scheme.
yeah, I think the idea is if your BB is in your backpack and you want to write and put an antenna on your, it's more representative of what your phone would do, that's fine. If you're putting a giant, directional antenna that you're pointing at the flower to try to get the coverage, that's not what this is intended for.
I think the other thing is like if you're flying drones like hundreds of feet above the air and getting clear line of path signal, like that's not going to help you for a mobile network either.
Yeah, especially if you're putting the flowers specifically to validating those. So we're gonna have it where, this is kind of 2 steps further down, but we want to have it where BBs that validate other flowers need to validate yours as well in order for your BB to be able to confirm that. So that the idea is not to figure out how to get the most coverage for your own. I mean, I understand everybody's treating this like a game, but we really want to get it to where people treat it like, they're building out the network, and this is a way for validating it as opposed to a way for them to be like, look, I can get a huge coverage over the ocean because I fly out and I point my antenna up instead of down. So anyway, do some sort of thing on the phone. Yeah, the having the BB talk to the phone is something that we're definitely aware of, Iodine, and we definitely want to address that. That would be something more. Okay, so I'm reading here. Casamigo, will HBs turn into fully validating devices, or will you guys move to more different eSIM type? Basically, honeybees become obsolete like Hummers. No, the honeybee will be the phone validation device. We're still working out parts of how to do that well. We have a prototype, but you won't need to buy a new NFT. You won't need to buy a new eSIM. It's all encapsulated in that, and we need to just upgrade the software on the phones for doing it.
Yeah, and to address the other part of that question, hummingbirds aren't obsolete, guys. They're just not earning picks because we want them to be private and we want them to be used for data, right? So yes, I understand right now there's no real reason to use a hummingbird instead of a honeybee because you're getting more rewards from a honeybee. But in the future, when we actually use the network for data, the hummingbirds will be the anonymous SIM that you can use on the network to browse the web and not collect rewards and not have your information.
Leave no traces. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The honeybee is the, or I'm gonna share my data, and in exchange for that, I'm gonna do validation for the network, and in exchange for that, I'm gonna get PCN.
Correct.
Yeah,
just want to make that clear because I know people think that the hummingbirds are kind of floating out there or not useful at the moment, but they will quickly become useful when we migrate to the data scheme.
Yeah, the bumblebees will always have a role to play because they can do different things than what the phone is allowing you to do. But other than that, we want to make it where it's almost exclusively phone based. And the majority of the rewards we want to get to should be coming from data traffic, and that's where the real network needs to come into.
Right.
Speaking of that, we're also pushing for densification in cities, and we're going to start with San Francisco because that's where we have the most density now, and we want to make it where you can get reception everywhere in the city. We're clearly far away from that now, but that's kind of our directional goal here. I think we talked about the lights. Next, when are greenhouse elderflowers and buttercups going to be released on the timeline? I think there's going to be another flower coming before then, maybe two actually, and then we'll backport for the elderflowers and buttercups, and then a couple other flowers after that. So if you think about the next 7 flowers or so that are in the pipe, it's going to be 2 non-base cells, bicels, and then finishing the rest of the base cells, bicels lineup, and then a couple others from another vendor. I hope that helps. Will there be an update to allow HBs to work with background app refresh? Yep, that's the developers working on that. I skipped K-Dub's nice rebrand.
I think you shamed him into that.
Well, I'm sorry. Just because I can't read correctly doesn't mean that you can do it, but I do like the name much better. Anyway, can we add gaming elements to validating legitimately? Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be the thing that we're working on with a game designer, and that will be really important. So yes, love to get input on that. Maybe we should ask for expanding the beta testers to some of the community members, like we did for the API for the new app that's coming out and getting feedback there. So if you're interested in helping us learn and improve the next Honeybee app, that would be great. Background app refresh, yes. Well, it doesn't do that now, but we know that's a big problem, and we want to allow that option. Other BB CAD files available. I'd like to make a bike mount. I think we do. We did give that to one community member, I think.
We did.
Yeah, let's give that to more people so they can have the right holes and patterns and everything else.
Yeah, for the meantime, I can get an email directly, or we can do.
Yeah, if you
posting.
Iodine, if you want to send us your email, we'll send you a direct CAD
And
of
a
that.
specific request too.
Yeah, specifically what you're looking for on that.
So it sounds like reach out to one of the mods with a DM and with that specific request, and then you'll get your CAD files.
Yeah, and we can give you the board, and we can give you the housing. Good. Okay. Any updates on Killer Bee and when it be released? So we were hoping to release the Killer Bee before this investigation, but in digging in, it looked like we had to do something about it sooner because it looked pretty consistent and unnatural. So we have a handful of Killer Bees built, and we need to determine the staking amount and mechanism for those folks to operate it, and what exactly the rules are. So I think between now and the next community meeting, we should float that out in a blog post detailing what we think about this. And so, yeah, we can go from there. Because I think that's the right way to do it, is to have ground truth data. Somebody suspects, they get a Killer Bee log, and then you can challenge and go from there. Okay. Oh, they want a 3D channel CAD. They want a channel for that. That'd be a good idea, actually. DM if you want to collab. Made it. All right, cool. All right. So next part is grants program, Christian.
So we got a lot of very good applications. We made those public. Those have been in the channel for a while. We spent a good amount of time going through them and making decisions that we'll be communicating out this week and then publicly announcing. The next step on that will be working with the committee to get the processes and criteria and initial target grants teed up. So that will hopefully be out within the month. The next big thing we could use help on is, I think we mentioned this in Discord, but haven't talked about it on a call. We're looking at different options for the administrator role. So this is going to be the the person or persons who actually do the things like review the applications each week, kind of do the initial vetting, put together the materials for the discussion with the committee, facilitate the votes, do the actual administration of the PCN grants, etc. So it's not a small job. We're considering potentially hiring either somebody to join OPCO, hiring a third party who kind of does this commercially, or if somebody in the community is up for it. We're open to that. So if it's something that sounds like it would be of interest to you and you have the time to do it, it is something we would be there would be compensation for it, given it is a decent amount of work. Don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but let us know, and we can provide more information about exactly what the role would entail. We could figure out what the right compensation scheme would look like. But would love to have the community running it, but understand it's a decent amount of time that's going to be required, so may not be feasible.
All right. Almost full-time role. Cool. Okay, I think that was it on all of the topics that we wanted to cover. Happy to take questions, comments, feedback on that. Everybody raising their hands. Oh, there is one. Yes, request. Eddie Kelly.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Hello?
Can we hear you?
Hi, I can't really hear you guys for whatever reason, but I have a quick question.
I can.
On the Explorer map, my miner is located in San Francisco, the HQ, and I was wondering why that is, because I think it's an issue within the community because other people have had.
Great feature. I wish there was like this in my life.
Yeah. What's that?
Speaking only, no listening.
Let me try. This is just screw things. So if I try to,
Hey, go ahead and listen.
let me try to turn the volume up.
I'm not sure why, but when I was given the privilege to speak, I can't really hear you guys.
Okay, I think you were maybe on the listen only. Can you come back? We had some technical issues here where the gentleman, D. Kelly, here we go, come back up. Invite the speaker.
You want me to?
Yeah, please.
Hi. Oh, I'm still dealing with the same issue.
Go ahead.
Hi. So I can't really hear you guys for whatever reason, but a lot of people in the community have been having this issue where their miner is located in San Francisco, which is the HQ, and I set my miner up. It's in Miami, and I can't really resolve the issue. And I was hoping that maybe you might have an answer for why that might be. I'm just gonna step off the floor so I can hear you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to recap your issue just to make sure I got it. You purchased a miner. You received your flower. You set it up in Miami, but it still shows up at our office hex in here. So yeah, there's an issue with the GPS and words reporting. Sri, I'm going to look to you to
Yeah, so
provide latest on this.
there's some flowers that are not reporting properly through the OMC, which is what we use to collect the GPS information from every flower. So they default to the office. That can be a combination of problems. Sometimes it can be because your flower itself is not syncing with GPS. Sometimes it can be other issues, but if you guys want to reach out to me on specific flowers, feel free to shoot me a DM and ask me specifically about what the flowers are doing. And I can make sure that they're updating properly and are reporting properly in the Explorer.
Yeah, so I think, but that's not actually affecting his ability to validate hexes.
It should not. It should not. It should not affect your rewards because we don't actually use the GPS information for that reason. The validation should still come through your validator devices. So if your bumblebees still report proper validations, or if your honeybees are still attaching, you will still receive rewards for that flower. But it does affect reporting. So we would have to investigate on a case by case basis and make sure that each flower is reporting correctly.
Which we need to come through to get that out as well. But there are some updates that we're doing on the back end through Greenhouse that should make this problem go away. So we're hoping to be able to push that out and fix it through that.
Yes, that is.
It is annoying because you don't get to see where it is. It's going to be especially annoying when the game pieces launch, because you'll want to see where the flowers
Where
are.
the flowers are,
and go.
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's yes.
So yeah, this known issue. We're trying to solve it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, there's another deadline from Max that has this issue. Okay, so that's a known issue that we need to continue to address. Yeah, but we hope that goes away with the new backend work that we did on the greenhouse drop shipping, and if it doesn't, then we'll have another look at that. Okay, so I'm going to go through questions in order that were in the chat. So Casamigo asked, are the new flowers going to be stronger than the BC? Not all of them, but there will be two. Two that will be there. One from an OEM and one from the same. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the 846.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
you skipped one. How often will we have Anthomaniac NFT events? That's a question for Anthomaniac.
Yeah, I was like, I love it. Yes, if there's anybody on the, anybody from that crew on now and they want to give an update, jump in and we will address that, or they can address that. Next up is anything you can share on the update for the MNO mentioned in Twitter update.
So we never said it was an MNO. We didn't say one way or the other. We are working on the technical integration. As soon as that's done, we'll be able to announce who it is and the details. But no news since we announced that we can report yet.
I mean, lots of work, but no.
Lots of work being done, but nothing we can share yet. Hopefully soon.
I know many others have experienced this issue. Wondering, guys, what topic? Okay. So when some bumblebees disconnect from a flower due to going out of range, they won't gain recollection unless you get very close to the flower root. It has nothing to do with the distance. It has to do with the searching algorithm that we run on that. And so it's more of a time-based than a distance-based thing. And that is super annoying. I'm aware of that as well. We're finishing the greenhouse, and then we're going to be able to put more resources on the bumblebee updates. The faster boot is also one that's important, and also making sure things are booting in parallel as opposed to sequentially.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of,
And there's a couple of things that Greenhouse does for us that also enables better search times on the bumblebee.
yes,
That'd be nice.
the handouts are going to be really nice, and all kinds of other things that we're going to be able to work out. So
Just another reason we're moving to Greenhouse, and for making the bumblebee a better device as well.
yeah, it will be potentially bumpy when we do ship, but it's the right move to go for it. Flowers in San Francisco, yep. Still seen still next to the house. Yes.
I think Vindu is the next one.
Okay.
Will the new BB have a restart button or plans to improve restart time? Kind of similar question.
Yeah, so the new BB is the current BB. We just have a new software that's going to be on it. We've identified a couple features that we can do. We just haven't implemented them because Ange have been working on the
Greenhouse.
the bring up of the distributed core. But that should make it less than 5 minutes and faster than that. But no, there will not be a new button to reconnect. That is something that would be in a future hardware update.
Do flowers get removed from the map when redundant for a period of time? That's a good question, so I can answer that one. The Explorer only shows the last week of coverage. So the flower hex, the gold hex will not get removed, but any of the coverage hexes or the light blue teal hexes that represent coverage will get removed. So if the flower, right now we're not checking whether the flower is on all the time or not. That's the uptime requirement that we don't have a solution for yet. But coverage will definitely be reset from the map after a week, and hopefully that makes it clear.
Yeah, but we should turn the gold hexes to like dim if they haven't been online in the last 6 hours or something like that. But that's definitely a good feature, so you can know like, oh, is it a new one that just came? And maybe it's like red when it comes online for the first time, so you can see it and maybe attract more direction with that.
Yeah, I think those are definitely improvements we can make to the Explorer. I think we can add those features.
And that's like free, like right out of the
Yeah,
gate.
we already have the
Yeah.
features.
Grizzle King doesn't know our voices yet, so do you want to introduce yourself, Shri?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Sridatta. I've been working the blockchain components, the rewards components, the data flow and data processing components, and I go by Shridag on the Discord. So if you guys see Shridag, that's also me.
Tom?
Hey guys, I do the mechanical work, so bumblebees, flower mounting, stuff like that. You will not find me on Discord because I get distracted easily. So
Good. 10 lashes otherwise. Alex, you want to say hi to everyone?
I'm Alex. I enter in Synthesis and I'm working on the Cheetah Looks right now.
Christian?
5G unit represent.
Yes. And I'm Anthony, the Blue Llama. I don't know how I came up with that name, but I think that was what was submitted for me automatically. Okay, we talked about flowers getting removed. Can you say again when the greenhouse drop is going to ship? It's going to ship by Friday this week. Shri, I want to hear you say it. Get that one, the cake.
No, that is correct. We are going to start shipping Friday of this week for the greenhouse drop that already happened. Yes.
So next week. Next week is when we're doing the makeup BB drop.
Next week will be the private BB.
Private. That's what I mean by makeup, sorry, private.
Private BB drop will be next week. Correct.
Okay. Will new BBs have an advantage over the current owners? I think they're all running and run the same software. They all run a slightly different software because they have a different board version and different components.
But the validation piece will be the same across all the models.
Yes. It's the same modem. It's the same antennas. It's the same, we believe, the same power range and everything else. So they should be exactly the same.
And the reboot times and all those reset times are all the same.
Yeah, the improvements to that will be back propagated from founders all the way to the latest. Because they're all the same over the air availability. Okay. What's the PIP process? I submit one good habit and again feedback. Yeah, that's very sucky on our side. Christian, that's on you.
Well, that sounds like a quality of your PIP issue, Max. Just kidding. No, we're still working out the process for stuff like that. I need to go back and look at your PIP, but we can certainly establish a separate channel for that to facilitate progress on that. But we will have a more formal PIP process. It's on the roadmap. It's just not at the top of the list yet.
We need I thought we had a PIP channel.
We do. He's
PIP
wanting a
channel.
specific one for his PIP.
Oh,
Which
sure.
needs to be created, yeah.
Yeah, I think we could just create ones for the ones that we should do a pre-review, say this sounds like a good idea. It can be PIP 2, and then we can go from there. All right. I can create a channel for this. Yeah, but after that, thank you. Got it, thanks. Okay, what is the timeline for new BB live mapping integration? Also, is there a way to interface with the BB in any way to locally parse logs for which hex has been validated? Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing without revealing too much on the new Honeybee app where there's a map component to it and you can see data from where you've been locally and where the flowers are and all the stuff that you would expect.
So that's for the honeybee. For the bumblebee, we have to work through the real-time aspects of it, but we don't think that will be ready until greenhouse becomes real. So the first step is to make greenhouse real, and then the second step would be to create the at time or real time processing events on the bumblebee themselves. So that requires quite a bit of bumblebee engineering, which we are planning to do after the greenhouse bring up. And then once both of those are in place, then we need to initiate backend architecture that will conglomerate all this rewards information in real time and feed it back to you via the API. We don't see a future where you have access to your logs directly. We just think that introduces a lot of gaming and spoofing scenarios where people can figure out what the logs say and back logs that are incorrect or invalid. So we don't really want to deal with that, and we think that that's a pretty easy attack vector if we make those available. But the plan is to have the API report back in real time the activities that you do with your device, whether that be a bumblebee or a honeybee in the future.
Timeline for live mapping integration,
I'd say at least a month.
at least as well. I mean, it sounds like these guys, so Fisher and team were building something. We should probably talk to them, and if they have something in the works, then maybe we just have them do that and
Absolutely.
because that would be
So
potentially really good.
there are API hooks that you can use right now. If you're not on the beta team for the API, Fisher, let us know. Like, we can definitely get you on there. You can see what's available right now and what you can use. And then obviously you can also message us directly and talk through with us what the timeline or framework will look like in the future. But this is really like what I just said is probably the most information that we have right now, just considering that we're pretty focused on the greenhouse bring up, but we would need to implement additional features on the bumblebee before we get to a real time mapping.
But on the flower side, you should be able to get the updates as they trickle in.
Once greenhouse is live.
Correct.
Yes.
And you said it was once it's real, and I was very offended by that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Once it's
once
people are on it.
yes.
It is real. It's already real.
Just booted this Discord to level 2. I don't get that part.
I think that's a Discord admin thing.
He's helping us with our
Audio issues.
moderation disabilities that we have. So
Well,
thank you.
We have many disabilities. That's only one of them. So it's okay, great. Sorry. Sketching up. Guide. Don't tease. Probably why. Okay, what's the issue? Yes. Okay, different.
Fix that.
Fixed. What's built in VB? Pollen cap. Okay, got it. Many options here. Feel free to delete if ads aren't allowed.
No, Max has been making some fire t-shirts.
Oh, no,
I love it. Love it. We do want to call out, this is not a 5G network. It is a 4G network. It will be 5G when 5G hardware is available. I don't know if other people are calling their network 5G, but it's really 4G. Just putting out there, I saw some 5G pollen stuff that will come in the future. It's just not where we're at today. And actually, I'll go a little bit riffing on that. I think that what people care about, they don't really care what's the technology their phone is using. They care about connectivity. And I think people want 40 megabits up and down everywhere, as opposed to 600 megabits in 3 spots in the city and 2 megabits everywhere else. So, I mean, 2 megabits everywhere in the city for pollen would be amazing. But anyway, that's my thoughts of that. 5th generation is decentralized. I love it. It's amazing. Okay, how about a pollen special edition tinfoil hats? Yes. with special built-in. We could probably make. I could probably make that turn it into actual antenna. Yeah, antenna. I like that. Yeah. You've tried it? It works.
Yours fell off.
Yeah. Okay, all right. We're sweet. We're gonna want to do live events too soon. It's just kind of teasing that out. Doing a meetup where I think we might have even done one. I don't know if we have.
There was a live event in Denver.
Yes.
There's one. It happened last week. There's one scheduled for I forget when in Houston. I think next week. This week.
And we sponsor that, right? We give a little card to the organizer to provide refreshments.
Game a little something. We're happy to do that in other cities as well. we're gonna have Ja Rule at
No, don't make promises you can't
random
deliver.
stuff. Somebody was asking. Somebody's asking in the gossip channel. They didn't know what the killer bee was.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, great. Thank you. So the killer bee, we believe, is basically a super bumblebee who will also validate like a regular bumblebee, but its main job is to be extra good on the GPS. So there's no GPS drift questionality, and have very nice antennas and a dedicated upload for another channel so that you can use this as a way to confirm that bumblebees are or are not cheating. And so in conjunction to this, you will stake some PCN in order to effectively be the validator or validators or police or, you know, super. It basically means like you're providing the ground truth to it. And so you're not doing all the validation yourself, but you're doing if the killer bee came through, it has an RTK fix, so it can get super high precision GPS. So it can tell you like there's no way this was like a drift or somebody was complaining about this, and it can say like this flower can't possibly get service this. And so it's a way for the community to be able to self-police and to do so in a way that somebody is staking their PCN in order to be able to enforce that. There's no additional rewards for that other than you're kicking off folks that are not playing well. Yes, Pollen.Vision. Sorry, forgot the shout out. Wanted to give a shout out to Pollen.Vision. Looks amazing. Thank you for creating that, guys.
Historical ledger manager / device manager lets you see your rewards and ledger information historically, lets you track specific devices and keep an eye on them. I think it's going to be a super useful tool for people in the future, especially people who are doing the split share type stuff. You know, you can keep track of a bunch of devices, you can keep them in a list, and you can monitor them over time and get a quick snapshot of everything that they're doing. So yeah, great work, guys, and please keep bugging us and hitting us with new API features, requests, whatever else to make that better. We'll try our best to fulfill all of your data needs.
Perfect. In case I missed it, did you guys say the new hex limits are going to affect Friday before or after 5 p.m.?
Should do it after. After we ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Should probably do it after.
Well, so I think the question is saying like because you're shipping by Friday, let's just pick a date of when they're going into effect.
Well, I think it's Friday, but it'll be for the period starting at 5:01.
So it's
Saturday
5 p.m.
UTC.
Not 5 p.m. UTC.
I said Saturday UTC.
Correct. Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, sure. So 5:01 Friday. Okay, good. Okay. Awesome.
I like the Wu-Tang shout out. I think Max can do a lot with that and some t-shirts once we launch the Killer Bee. Looking forward to that. I lost my Wu-Tang shirt from high school.
I'm kind of a Method Man pseudo fan, so great.
We have one more question. Any more events coming up that would grant like boosted rewards for device per day or something?
Yeah. No, we're definitely doing that. Sierra's been preparing 2 ongoing booster Christian's grinning, doesn't want to do it. I think we want to have we talk about the show us your flowers and show us your bars events. And these are to be announced, but that would boost the earning potential of that specific flower and also all the bees that come to it. And on the bee side, or you would also get every flower that you visit with it would get the booster.
So on that note, actually, there was one other thing that I wanted to address, which is the bounty rewards. People have been asking about the bounty rewards, how you receive them. We've said it's a 30-day rolling window for the bounty rewards, but we haven't turned them on yet because we're still waiting for the loot box data, right? The pollination rewards or the bounty rewards are not live yet for the flowers because we will make an uptime check before we do that happen, make that happen. So we're still waiting on the uptime check to come through before we do
Yeah.
top-tier rewards.
And we were going to do a multiplier for contiguous coverage. I think Steve is the one that came up with that idea,
Correct.
which we really like. We haven't implemented it yet,
Yeah.
but I think that's something that we want to do as we have more real clusters of coverage coming up.
Yep. So both of those will be, both of those are in the works, and we're still kind of figuring out how to implement them properly and make sure they work in a fair way.
Yeah, there's a request on uptime rules.
Yeah. So initially, our uptime rule was 22 hours of continuous uptime. We scrapped that because a lot of people were complaining, and we didn't have it.
Well,
properly
it was a
implemented.
bug initially, which
Yeah,
was like
our
the
implementation
last
was
22.
really-
Yeah, for sure. But we should still have a 22-hour of uptime requirement.
Yeah, we haven't instituted it yet, but it will be 22 hours in the last 24 hours, right? So you have to be up for at least 22 of the last 24 hours, and that will be the uptime requirement coming in the future. That is not in place right now. It will be in the future.
Question of when are we going to be able to apply for grants? Christian.
We hope to have, once the committee's announced this week, have some guidelines out and process defined, initial grant objectives out within the month, and then we can start accepting applications. Well, the initial ones we're going to do, still not 100% sure we're going to do it this way, but we're thinking we'll do an initial one. We want to leave it open and let people just constantly be submitting them. So we just want to make sure we have the infrastructure in place to be able to handle that and not let them just hang out there.
What happens if you do 21 hours? You get like half reward, something like that? Sure.
Yeah, so I think what we're gonna institute is there's probably gonna be some thresholds, some various thresholds. So if there's probably gonna be a lower end threshold where if you're below a certain time, you don't get any rewards at all. There's probably gonna be like a discretionary threshold, basically between 22 hours and some other period. You'll get some kind of reward, but not all of it. And then in order to receive all of the rewards, you will have to maintain the 22 hours out of a 24-hour period. Another question, will the 30-day thing reset when it comes to play officially? Also, if you miss a day, does that reset you to 0? That is correct. If you miss a day, that will reset you to 0. The 30-day thing doesn't reset, it's a rolling window. So how it will work in the future is every 30 days, you get credit. And then every day, it'll check for the last 30 days to make sure you get credit. So it'll be a rolling window. Obviously, I think there's going to be a lot of questions on how this works. We'll release a blog post that has very clear, detailed rules before it goes into a live situation. So you can expect more information on that. But yeah, that's the idea for now, is that it will be a rolling 30-day.
And the goal is like, we want to be, we consider ourselves the world's smallest MNO, and we want to be thinking of ourselves that way. So it's, if your phone was off for 2 hours straight, people would be really upset. And so we want to have it where like it should be up, like electricity. So if you're out for a day,
I think it'll also cut down on some of the cheating that we're seeing in terms of flowers moving and in terms of like them repositioning themselves and things like that. They're definitely that has gone down in the amount we've seen in terms of cheating, but that's definitely something that'll be also caught by the uptime we're hoping.
any discretion between the actual hours of uptime? Yeah, I think that's right now we're just saying 222, but we should definitely have it where there's higher penalty for the hours that are lower traffic, and we can actually potentially do that over historical data traffic usage, so that if you're down when it's a low traffic period, then you would be penalized much less. That might be a good way to like weigh that, but I mean we're getting more complicated too.
Yeah, someone that Casamigo asks, if there's an outage due to Comcast or ISP issues, can we submit a ticket so we don't lose rewards for the day? I would like to say yes, but the answer is probably no. And the reason I say that is because you're getting rewarded for providing coverage, not for having the device. So if you can't provide coverage with your device, whether that be in your power or not, you're not providing coverage to the network, which means you shouldn't be getting rewarded. I understand that's very draconian and people don't like hearing that, but the reality is we're not rewarding you for buying the device, we're rewarding you for using it in the network and providing coverage. So that's kind of the nature of it.
Yeah, it's almost think of it like if you was like paying traffic that's happening, which we're pushing to do that as soon as possible, like you just would be missing out on that. In fact, it'd be much worse because you'd be missing out on that and then hurting the network for being like, oh, I don't have coverage here.
Correct. But I mean, we totally understand that ISPs are an issue. If we are a real phone network, we would need to have backups for each of those ISPs. I'm not saying that every one of you guys needs to back your ISP up with another ISP, but I'm saying that you have to think about that.
I'd recommend it actually.
Yeah.
It's too early right now, but like,
I'm kidding, okay.
but when you're, I mean, the objective is to provide is the real network. To do that, you'll need high uptime and you'll need to figure out what to do on that.
So there's a question in the general thread. Is rewarded uptime determined by a device validating or just confirming Flower internet connectivity?
I think it'll be the second. I think we will check that the device is broadcasting, not that the.
Well, it's also communicating to the core
That-
essentially all the time.
that's-
Yeah,
that's-
exactly.
That's
Yeah. No. You'll need at least a validation for the day to make sure that it was up and running, but
for your rewards, yes, but for the uptime,
it's just whether or not we're talking to it. Got it. Okay. I think we're running out of steam. This was great.
yeah, any final questions on, I think the chat we've covered.
Oh, we didn't. There's been a lot of questions and confusions about the white paper. It's been updated. So hopefully, let us know if there's still any confusion there, but hopefully that's all aligned with everything we've talked about the last couple of community meetings.
And we have a chart, did you put the chart in there yet, or no?
The chart you sent?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, but we should make that chart public, I think that makes it very clear as well.
The chart should be there, and there should be like a cheat sheet rules, like it's like one pager on
Yeah.
like what's uptime, everything
Yeah,
else.
I think we should all those rules and like all the hex limits and all of those should be on that page as well. We can talk about that, but yeah, the white paper itself is updated. It's verbose. but
Wait, we have multiple links to links to multiple white papers?
Ooh, that's on the shop.
Amazing. Yes,
That's
that's
so
makes sense.
that is a good point. So the real white paper right now is at docs.pollenmobile.io. There's just links to the Git book. We will remove all the links on the other places. That's what we need.
Thanks for calling it out. That's great.
Release 001 is not up to date.
Here, can we put the link in now?
Yeah, for sure. So.
Oh, we're debating between pollenize and pollinization.
Pollinate, pollinize is the verb.
Pollenize is the verb.
We've been using pollinate. You can't use pollinize.
I have all of my scripts say pollinate
Yeah.
and pollination.
Yeah, but Wikipedia says pollenize is legit too.
Yeah. So it's very.
We're
Yeah.
the meeting's officially over. We'll have a banter on pronunciation and other stuff.
We just have to say botanist 100 times.
All I'm telling this, yeah.
I don't really want can someone do but the wrong botanist? What's wrong and right? Botanist.
It's botanist.
What's the wrong way to say it?
Botanist.
I don't think it worked. I think somebody thought we were saying botnet.
Botnet. Yeah, okay.
I think that was the confusion.
Someone said botanist.
But then Steve
question?
helpfully clarified it by writing in the chat. It's pronounced.
Oh,
Botanist.
could we
I just spelled
have a
it.
static penalty? Where was that question?
Oh, there's another one here. Can you talk more about new flowers coming? Who are the equipment and how they compare to DDCF PCs? We're gonna announce it when we're gonna announce it. We want to be a little bit more Apple-like on this one. Some are never seen before, and some are already in existence in other places.
Prominator says, could we have a static no penalty maintenance window for upgrades? In telecom, there's typically
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think we
yeah,
should do that for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. We have to figure out how to do that. But that makes the perfect sense. Yeah. Any chance you can open up a channel to connect folks who've overbought equipment and need locations? Yes, we should find a host meets. Looking.
Is that not happening on the gossip channel already?
Uh,
I think Discord's better.
we
Gossip
make
is like a
both
single
ways,
stream.
yeah,
This is a
yeah,
bit is a
yeah.
cleaner setup.
Okay, yeah. Post matching channel. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
We have flower dating channel.
Speed dates.
No. These are like permanent installations, guys. This is not speed dating. It's like I don't know if it's gonna work out or not.
That's fair. I mean, some hosts are better than others.
Yeah, that's fair. You wanna sample all your hosts before you
Exactly.
decide to plant your flower there. Okay. We could call Bumble. That's amazing. We should totally call Bumble. That's like 100%.
All in one.
That's funny.
You should put that on a shirt, Max.
Okay. I think that's all the questions. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you in 2 weeks. And see you on Discord in the meantime.